All right, so most people have hobbies and they don't think that it can be like the same as their job. They don't think they can turn their hobbies into their job. But I like to think that I've been able to do that through bass fishing. So my first memory of bass fishing is when I was 7 years old, down by my local lake, wading in waist deep water, casting into the thick reeds. I began to reel in my line, but it jumped and pulled. I began to haul it in, frankly letting the fish get the better of me. Once I got it in, I was ecstatic, but I was kind of afraid of like this spiky, slimy creature that was on the end of the line. Thankfully, my dad came over and he saved the day and he took it off, took it off the hook and snapped a picture with his flip phone. Over the course of the next 2 summers in middle school, fishing was like all I could think about. It was all I did. Every single day after school, I would just go down to the lake next to my house and start fishing. Over those summers, I began working on air conditioners with my dad, and I managed to save up enough money to get an old leaky 14-foot John boat that we had to fix up. It was February 2020 whenever I finally bought it, and then COVID rolled around, and we had no more school for the next 6 months. So I had nothing better to do but go out and fish basically every single day. In the fall, I started at a new school, and it was kind of weird trying to adjust to a new school because everybody's wearing masks, at social distancing, so you can't really get close to people, get to know people. And at that time, the one thing that I could really look forward to was fishing. Going down to my local lake, something familiar, the smells, the sounds, the sights. And it was just something that I kind of found a respite in during, that hard time. Around Christmas of my freshman year, my dad brought up the idea of fishing a tournament. It had always been my dream to fish bass tournaments, and I didn't really know how it was gonna work because the boat wasn't big enough to fish a bass tournament out of. But what we ended up doing is kind of fabricating a live well into that boat to where we could fish bass tournaments out of it. Now, it's kind of embarrassing showing up to the boat ramp, with all these really nice bass boats around you, and you're in this 14-foot John boat that's about to sink because it leaks and you put so much stuff on it that it's, not really meant to hold that stuff. It was kind of a surreal feeling being at the boat ramp, 5:30 in the morning. It's the earliest I've ever woken up in my life. And, it's just like the smell of burning gasoline. And this tournament is what you would call a shotgun start, where there's a guy on the dock and he blows a horn, and at that point, all the boats go and take off. And it's kind of like, it's like a boat race in a way. And it was surreal to me. And at that moment, I realized that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. And so that tournament, we didn't do very well. We ended up getting 6th place out of 70 boats. We had, I think, 14 pounds for 5 fish. But it was an enjoyable experience, and I feel like I learned a lot from that. Fast forward to now, I've gotten a bigger boat. It actually is meant for bass fishing. And I fish tournament probably once every 2 weeks. I fish little Wednesday nighters, little Friday nighters. And I've basically turned one of my hobbies into a job. It doesn't really make a whole lot of money from, the expenses of gas and bait and, just boat maintenance in general. But I feel like I've successfully been able to turn my dream and what I enjoyed and what was simply just a hobby into something that I can make money off of. And I hope to carry that on into later in life. And yeah, that's it. So don't let anybody tell you that your hobby won't ever be able to turn into a career, because it is possible. You just gotta find a unique way to go around it.